Good evening and welcome to the Planning Board meeting of November 12, 2024, here at the meeting room number 1 in Town Hall. The proceedings will be videotaped and rebroadcast by Area 58 TV. If we could all stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Excuse me. We have a minor modification before us. Request by the Plymouth Elks Lodge, number 1476, care of Paul Ruginski, for a minor modification to site plan 169B South Meadow Road, Assessors Map 113, Lot 7-0-E, portion of In the Airport zoning district.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob DeWar here with Bracken Engineering on behalf of the Elks Lodge. I have the plan up on here just for reference, just to bring back the memory of the project that was previously before you. This was for a special, site plan review number, where's the number? Sorry, excuse me. Apologies, I don't have the number in front of me right now, but previously approved site plan review. We have here tonight a request for a minor modification to remove condition number 3 from the approval of the site plan review. This condition was requiring a copy of a NIPD's permit to be provided to the town planner and Fussin O'Neill, the third-party review engineer, prior to the start of site disturbance. Based on the site conditions and review with Fussin O'Neill and Tom Bott from the planner's office, we are requesting a minor modification to remove this condition because it is our opinion that the NIPD's permit isn't needed for this property. This is, while it is technically over an acre of disturbance, there is no discharge of stormwater to waters of the U.S. as classified by the EPA, the DEP. So we do have, an existing construction period stormwater pollution prevention plan. That's just part of our ongoing stormwater prevention, and just the actual NIPD's permit just is not necessary for this project. So with that, we'll open to the board for any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to do a bit of explaining as well.
Thank you.
So most of our site plans, most of our special permits have sort of standard language we use to make sure we have them in all of those and we don't miss them. So that was the case in this with these particular requirements. So Bracken Engineering did their review and says, I don't think we have to do these. And I'm like, well, we'll get to Fussin O'Neill on the technical aspects of those, but whether you have to do them or not, they're a condition of your permit. So while at this point, technically, we all agree that they are not necessary for this particular project in these conditions, they're still on the special permit. So the only thing we're modifying are those conditions within the special permit. Everything else is fine, has been confirmed by Andy Glines, our consulting engineer.
Okay, so he has said that it's all right.
Yeah, it's basically a rut-row by me and an okey-doke by Andy. Okay. If I can slip into the parlance of people who don't talk like that.
Okay. All right. You're looking for a waiver on 2? On number 11 also?
I believe it's number 3. Just pull up my actual permit here. No, 2 is an act, we do have sedimentation and erosion controls on site. Number 3 was the requirement of the NIPD's permit, so we're looking for a waiver on that.
Okay. Do I have any questions from the board regarding this?
No, it, it appears that our consulting engineer, Mr. Glines, has verified conformance with stormwater management standard 2.
Connie, can you talk in your mic?
Oh,
so
sorry.
our note taker can hear you, please.
It appears that Mr. Glines, our consulting engineer, has already confirmed, according to the letter here, that they are in conformance with the stormwater management standard, and that this is a rare instance, and the property in question is 4,000 feet up gradient of the waters of the United States, and Mr. Glime seems to be in agreement. So I don't have any questions.
Ellen?
I'm all set.
Mary Ellen?
No, no questions.
And Mr. Maynard?
No questions?
Okay. Well then, do we,
It is a hearing.
it is, we have a public hearing.
Yes, we do.
So I'm just going to put it out there to the public if anybody has anything that they'd like to come forward and ask or discuss. Seeing none, then I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So to my great horror, it's not a hearing. I just looked and said, that's not a hearing.
Oh, okay.
But very nice of you to offer that courtesy to folks to speak about things they don't speak about. But no,
Okay.
my bad. There's no hearing, just a minor modification.
All right. Then I will ask for a motion to approve.
That would be a motion to modify the existing permit by removing conditions 3 and 11.
Yes, thank you.
So
It's
moved.
gonna be 3 of us. 3 of us voting.
3 of us
Yes.
voting?
No, 4. There'll be 4 of us
She
voting.
wasn't.
Nope, she's here tonight.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
new item, so
Okay.
everybody's here gets to vote.
I so moved on the motion to approve the request by Plymouth Elks Lodge for a minor modification to site plan 169B South Meadow Road.
I'll second that.
Connie moved, Ellen second. And because this is a site plan, you 4 are voting. Alan is watching with great intent.
All right. Further discussion?
Mr. Shea says aye.
Thank you.
Ellen Sedillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Guys, take care. Looking forward to checking that out.
That's coming. The building will be delivered December 1st around then.
Excellent. That's excellent. Glad to hear that. That's a good use of that property.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. All right. Public hearing continued on Wenham PVI LLC requesting a site plan review pursuant to Section 3100 of the Carver zoning bylaw located at 27 Wenham Road in Carver, Mass. Assessors map 100, lot 6, in a residential agricultural zoning district. The applicant is proposing to construct a smart dual-use agrivoltaic LSGM SPI on a plot of land currently utilized for cranberry farming. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kyle Murphy here again, I guess on behalf of Wenham PB1 for our site plan application. I guess just to start off with, there were some new documents that were submitted to the board ahead of this meeting, after the last meeting, and I just wanted to start off with the amendment to the interconnection service agreement that we submitted before. We had submitted one that said the project was 1,625 kilowatts, but our site plans reflect a 1,000 kilowatt project, and that was because in the design process we had to reduce the size of the project, and we recently worked with Eversource to amend our agreement to reflect that downsized project. So I just wanted to clear up that discrepancy between the documents that we had submitted, so that everything is consistent, reflecting the proposed project size of 1 megawatt AC and 1.4 roughly megawatts DC. And I guess with that out of the way, I wanted to move on to the updated site plan. Now this is, it features the rerouted access road, and we also relocated the transformer pad, which the board is, I guess, aware of because this was shared at the site walk that was held 2 weeks ago, but just this is the first time this updated plan has been in the public meeting. So I guess we rerouted it to make room for the parking, and also to take advantage of the flat topography in that area. We added the 30-foot by 30-foot parking and turnaround area for fire trucks, because one of the comments that the fire department had in their feedback on this was that because of the length of the access road, we needed to add a turnaround area for their trucks. So we achieved that with the parking/turnaround area that we added, and by rerouting the access road, we also created like a four-way intersection where the road meets the bog, so that also provides an opportunity for vehicles to turn around in that area as well. And I guess we also updated it to show the existing gravel road that currently surrounds the bog. The fire department requested that the road around the bog be 12 feet wide at all times, so some minor widening of the road in some spots will be required to achieve that 12-foot width. But we just wanted to add that to the plan. Additionally, one question that was raised during the site walk was the exact distance from the edge of the parking area to the residential property north of the area where I guess Peggy Wood resides. That distance is 337 feet. So from the edge of the area that's going to be cleared for the parking area, there's going to be 337 feet of existing natural vegetation remaining between her property line and the edge of our proposed cutting. And I guess an additional change that we made after the site walk in order to mitigate impacts on that residential property is we moved the utility poles that had previously been proposed on the east side of the access road to the west side of the access road to move them farther away from the residential property. Our engineers took a look at the wetlands in that on that western side, and also I guess the topography, and they determined that we do have the room, and that's a change that we can make, and we've submitted this plan to the Conservation Commission. They've received our application on November 6th, and we will be at that meeting, the next Conservation Committee meeting, which is next week on November 20th. Another addition that we made to the site plan after the last meeting was we added an asphalt apron where the access road meets Wenham Road, so that the trucks turning off of the road don't degrade the public way. And additional changes were we added a gate to the access road, and we also included details calling out and specifying what signs will be installed at specific points in the property. For example, several signs will be installed on the access gate specifying no trespassing, facility owner, and emergency contact information. And there will be additional signs installed around the array area and also on the fence surrounding the equipment pad. And details for those signs have been added to the plan set that's being shown here by Mr. Bott.
Sorry, it took me a while, Kyle. I'm fishing around a bit.
No problem, no problem. So we just specified how those signs would look and also the dimensions of the signs that we are proposing to be installed. And that covers all of the updates that we have made to the site plan after the last meeting and the site walk that we've held over the past few weeks. So a couple other one new document that was also submitted was just a memo to the planning board regarding a couple of the specific feedback items that we got from the fire department. We wrote this memo just to confirm that we will provide training to the fire department to show, to familiarize them with the layout of the site, show them the location of lock boxes for the keys to open the gates, the various gates on the property, and also so that they can, they're familiar with points of access and also the location and operation of disconnect switches. And also included in the memo is the contact information for our property manager, Mike Wanio, which was just another item that the fire department requested in their memo. And just to get to okay, so we also made some updates to our operation and maintenance plan in response to comments from the board and also feedback that we received from the fire department. Item number 4 on the operation and maintenance plan was revised to specify that part of our vegetation management plan will include maintaining a 16-foot vertical clearance above all access roads and a 2-foot lateral clearance on both sides of all access roads. Item 6 was added to specify that damaged or broken equipment will be replaced within 90 days. We added an item 7 to specify that a wash pad will be utilized during construction as needed to wash off vehicle wheels before leaving the project site to prevent the accumulation of sediments on Wenham Road. And item 8 was added to specify that an asphalt apron will be installed and maintained where the access road meets Wenham Road. Item 10 was added to specify that open space surrounding the bog will be mowed at minimum twice per year. And item 11 was added to specify that soils excavated during construction will be stored on site and utilized for the maintenance of access roads and also for decommissioning of the project as needed. The final, document that I have that is new for this meeting was I submitted a copy of the solar panel module specification sheet because it answers one of the questions that was raised by the board at the last meeting, which was whether or not there's mercury or other toxic chemicals within these panels. And this on page 2 of the mechanical specification sheet, at the top, it lists the the materials that consist of this of the solar panel that were proposed, and I mean these materials are standard across all makes and models of solar panels. The only components that go into these are treated tempered glass, aluminum, and silicone, basically, and copper wires. So there are no mercury or other hazardous or toxic chemicals contained in these solar panels. It's just glass and aluminum and silicone. And finally, I did just want to address that in the past week, we have received a series of recommendations from an engineer hired by the town and also a memo from the town council. We have had time to review these, and we have our team working on responses to these items, but we don't have materials ready today to address all of the concerns that were raised in these two documents. We're planning to follow up with an itemized response to the engineer's feedback that we can provide to the board so that their engineer can review how we've addressed their comments on our application. And additionally, our attorney is working on a memo in response to the town council's memo regarding the protections that we've stated that apply to our project by virtue of the dual use nature of the project. And these protections are conveyed in MGL 61A and 40A section 3.
So if I may just discuss a couple of points that town council pointed out. So we got on Friday a memo back. It's I'll highlight the bullet points for you. So the questions we asked town council about exemptions for solar from the zoning bylaw and the needs for frontage. So town council has reported that in my opinion, town council's opinion, General Law 61A 2A does not exempt the proposed use from the requirements of the zoning bylaw. Further, town council went on, therefore, in my opinion, pursuant to GL 48 section 3, of course that's town council's opinion, a special permit can be required for dual use solar located on land in a so-called exempt agriculture. The second question is a frontage variance required. Based on council's previous discussion above, the solar project is not exempt from the zoning bylaw, and in my opinion, a frontage variance is necessary. So those are the two questions. Are we exempt? Do we have to follow 100% the zoning bylaw for solar, and is a frontage variance necessary? In the opinion of town council, both of those would be the case. And that's the way things play out, then the applicant would be obliged to submit a special permit application and go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to request said frontage variance. It's a path
They've been made aware of that?
Yeah, like I said, we got the opinion on Friday. I was at a conference. I wanted to read it before I sent it out, so I read it this morning and hit the send key. So Kyle got that lunchtime?
Roughly, yes.
Yeah, sorry about having that show up at your lunch,
It
dude.
wouldn't be any fun if there was
Yeah.
any surprises.
And that's what your attorney is working on?
Right, a response, yes,
Okay.
a memo for the board, just to.
All right, now, this is also supposed to take place by today, right?
Say again?
Is this?
Oh, as far as no, we have an extension as well.
Yeah,
right.
So we requested an
So-
extension from one PV, and they very graciously submitted an extension, so we are now extended to 12/12/2024.
Okay. But I need to ask for a motion for the extension, do I not?
We're going to actually ask for a motion to extend the hearing, because I don't think we're ready to vote on anything tonight.
Okay.
So I think the extension is sort of two-form. We get them, we file them with the town clerk, we put them on the agenda, all of which has been done, so.
Okay, and you're aware of that, right, Carl?
Of the extension?
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. We submitted the extension letter the other week.
I just have one question. What are you going to use for the all-weather surface for the access roads? Is it going to be like a riprap or gravel?
Gravel,
Gravel.
yeah.
All right, and the fire department is okay with that?
To my knowledge, they are.
That's their first condition, so I just want to make sure that you're using the right material for them to get their apparatus in there.
Got it. Yep, yeah, the plan is gravel. I guess we have that, called out on the graphic as well.
Okay.
Do we have an area put aside for snow disposal?
For snow disposal,
I expect you're going to have to keep the roads clear for the fire department.
right. I mean, that,
It's all right, because we're coming back, so.
right, that is, no, that's a good point.
And I don't think it would.
But I would imagine if it's plowed, that's gonna open it up and the plowing will go off to the sides.
Right, and I guess part of,
It's a large portion of this is within the 200-foot, 100-foot, and 65-foot protected areas where you can't dump snow, so.
No, they're not gonna dump snow, they're gonna plow it.
Yeah, but you can't, it's the same, if you push it off to the side, it's the same thing. It's gotta be removed from those areas. It can't be just pushed off to the side, because that's pushing off all the contaminants that are on the roadway. Oils, antifreezes, various other road salts and such. Now, my question for you, and I think it was brought up during the site walk, is the first portion of this road is subject to flooding, is within the floodplain district? Is that correct?
of the road.
Yes.
So I know that the road meanders in and out of the various buffer zones and resource areas, because I guess there are two. There are the wetland areas and there's the resource areas, and parts of the road do fall within some of those areas, but parts of the road also are not. It's not like consistent the whole length of the road. It crosses in and out of those areas.
Okay, because this is showing the 200-foot riverfront zone goes more or less up to the parking pad and the and your transformers. That's why I'm asking. And you have an easement for where it crosses over the other property,
We do.
and has that been provided to the board?
It has.
Has it been updated in regards to this?
In what regard?
I don't know what the specific language of it is in regards to an easement for farming or...
The easement is for vehicular access only, and I guess one of the conditions that's very relevant to this project and this proposal is that we are not allowed, because the existing access road encroaches onto the neighbor's property, and one of the conditions that was agreed upon was that we cannot widen the access road in a way that would move the existing edge of it deeper into our neighbor's property. So the effect of that is that we can, where the encroachment exists, we can only widen the access road to the west, towards and onto our property.
But that's in my paperwork. I probably just missed it.
You could, yes, it was submitted. We submitted copies of the easement agreement.
I thought I had seen it before, but I hadn't refreshed it, yeah. And you haven't received approval of a notice of intent or an order of conditions from the Conservation Board?
Not yet. It'll be, we're on the agenda for the November 20th meeting next week. That'll be our first meeting with them. And yeah, I'm sure you guys, I guess we'll hear how it goes. I guess, all right, well, is the board not going to be prepared to vote until you have, I guess, until that process with the Conservation Commission?
We're supposed to have the order of conditions.
Yeah, okay, so that needs to be complete first.
Right.
Okay.
I noticed in one of the memos, it says you had already applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for variance in regards to the frontage, and that you withdrew your application?
So I know the memo you're talking about, but frankly, that I can't confirm for sure if we actually submitted and withdrew, because I guess that happened before I had this
Okay,
this job.
nope, that's fine. And so what is the total amount of frontage on Wenham Road?
Said this before.
Because it I thought it said 83 feet, but I saw another memo today that said it might be as much as 105.
Yeah, I guess I noticed in the, your council's memo mentioned that there was, I think, like 105 feet of frontage, but I guess just based on my, I think on my read of the site plan, that it was 83.
80, that's what I saw
the- I-
in here, so I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, and I think part of the confusion is, and it's not shown here, there's a tiny triangular parcel on Wenham Road on the east side of the access road. I guess that's not shown. It's like it's like less than 1,000 square foot parcel. So I think what the council may have looked at was they might have added that triangle, because we do own this triangle. We did purchase it as well. It's just not shown here, and it's none of the parcel area is utilized for our project. But I mean, I don't think that really it doesn't have a huge impact, because 83 feet versus 105 feet, we don't, we don't have the frontage.
Sure. And you said the project will be 300 feet from the nearest property line? Is that?
That 337 foot.
From the two residences is more.
Right. I guess because this is something I think that Mr. Bott specifically asked for when we were on the site walk is, right, I guess it's that line that he's showing right there. It's the distance from the clearing that we're doing for the parking and turnaround area, just the distance from that limit of disturbance to the residential property line. And that's 337 feet.
So 337 from the pad that they're proposing to the edge of the property, right there at that corner.
Well, that's all the questions I have until we hear back from Andy Glines in regards to it.
Do any other members on the board have questions for him before we go ahead and grant him this extension?
I can tell you with great certainty, you do have an abutter in the audience who would like to address the board during the hearing.
Okay. I'm waiting for my members to
You're good.
speak up.
I do not, Kevin.
All right.
Let's hear from the abutter.
Yeah, no, last question. I didn't see the septic and wells notated on here for the residences on either side, but looking up at the map, it's probably not relevant in this.
Okay.
All right, at this time, I'll open it up to the public. Any questions, concerns?
Would you like me to put your, would you like me to put your picture up on the
No.
wall? Okay. I mean, not your picture, but your map, your plan, your map you made.
That you can do.
No, you look fabulous, by the way, but I would not be shy about putting your picture up on anything, Peg.
Hi, everybody. Margaret Wood. I'm the resident abutter, and the only resident abutter to this project. So the land is sort of important to me, and we've been dealing with, this is the second company that's wanted to put solar panels down there on that bog, or near the bog, and this one seems to be better than the first plan. I'm just trying to keep as much disruption from my side of that road as I can. I know that A.D. Makepeace is the abutter on the other side. They don't live there. I really don't want to look out and see poles and wires and roads and solar panels if I can avoid it. And according to the plan that I have here that's up on your screen, and I think you all have a copy of it, there's plenty of room for them to put most of that over on the opposite side of the road that Makepeace owns. And I'm just requesting that if you approve this, you ask them to do whatever they can do over on that other side. I know I don't I can't stop them, I get that, but I also don't want the impact in my yard if I don't have to have it.
Well, we'd like to think that they are going to be good neighbors. And
I would too,
And I believe
but who
that they
knows?
want to put the poles on the west side, which
And
would,
that would be terrific.
yeah.
But as much as they can do over there to avoid, my backyard, which it's extensive and I get that, but I'd like it to stay that way if I can. And maybe we can all be good neighbors.
Is there only the 2 poles going in from what it looks like there?
I don't know. I believe that was the original plan, was 2 poles. Whether they've changed that or not, I don't know, Connie.
And you're number 31 there.
I'm 31 Wenham Road.
Okay.
I'm the only house, actually, I'm the only other abutter to this property. Me and A.D. Matthews.
Because it's almost going to be cleared entirely to your property line.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't think so.
Which is why I would like as much of it I could get over on the A.D. Matthews side rather than the 31 Wenham Road side.
So essentially, through the woods, they're carving the path that we walked down there, looking at creating that new path we saw from the make markings in the field. And so it's going to bang a left, which is bringing it closer to Peggy's house than it did before. But there's no additional clearing outside of that. They're not clearing any of the trees or things like that, just that path through the woods.
Well, it looks like the first 100 feet of roadway is going to be pushed towards her property, towards the east for the clearing and the expansion in regards to keeping it out or away from the wetlands is what was, I understood, being proposed. That your easement said to keep it to the east and not to the west, that they don't want any further development in the roadway, and that's where that corner is. Can you tell me what, well, I'll wait till you're done.
No, go
before
ahead. Go ahead.
I asked the engineer a question.
Ask away.
All right.
I'm curious for information as well.
Kyle, if you could come address that.
I just want to know what the narrowest point there, where I see it goes on to the neighbor's property. The narrowest point in regards to this is how wide? Between the 2 property lines, between your east and west property owners.
Yeah, so I guess like the pinch point, right, I guess the narrowest width like of our property at the tightest point in that pinch point is it's like 29 and a half feet. It's less than 30. It's slightly under 30. It's 29 and change.
From where it kicks out on Peggy's property to across the street here, where the neighbor's property is, that little pinch point, it looks more like
100 feet
the
in or
width,
so.
it's less than the width of what you're clearing, so it's gotta be less than 16 feet, right?
I guess the access road is 20 feet wide until it hits the cranberry bog. So the road, what you see there is 20 feet access road plus 2-foot lateral clearance on each side.
Okay, so really what I'm asking is between this corner here and this corner, which is hidden under the road at the moment,
Yep.
what is the width at that point?
29 feet and a half, roughly.
And the road is gonna be how wide?
20 feet wide plus 2 feet.
Can I ask a question?
The all-weather road's gonna be 20 feet wide?
Yes.
Okay. Then that explains it.
So you
Yep.
had to have it 12 feet wide, why does it have to be 20 feet wide?
The utility requires the road to be 20 feet.
Yeah, are you all set?
I guess, I mean, it's up to you guys. As I said, that's my mission, is to
Well, we're going to be continuing this
Try to
anyways.
keep it as far away as possible.
Got it. And he's sitting right next to you, and he hears that that's your biggest concern. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
right then. So we are going to continue this and leave the public hearing open. And at this time, I guess I will ask for a motion to continue.
Do we have a date?
Kyle, do you have a date in which we
So
continue
November
it?
26th is the next planning board meeting. You think we've got an opportunity to work through Fuss and O'Neill's comments?
I'm going to need to follow up with you at the end of the week.
Okay, well, we can continue it to the 26th at this point, and if for some reason we need to extend that, you can just...
And you can follow up with the planner if
Yeah.
you need more.
One question I had: are you guys having a meeting like in early December?
We are,
We are, December 10th, I believe.
correct.
Okay, so November 26th is next.
That's correct.
We could tentatively do that. All right then.
Well, did you have a preference? You're all right with it being continued to the 26th?
Yes.
Okay. Then
If you
I guess,
think you need...
do we have to decide
the
now,
10th,
like,
If
yeah,
you think you
we
need the
might need the
10th, we'll do
10th.
the 10th.
right.
We might.
Well, so for the public, since we don't send out notices, we continue to a date certain. So we're determining what tonight's date certain.
Understood.
So we could continue it to the 10th, but then we can't add in the 26th after we continue it. That's what we run into. We can continue it to the 26th, and you can come in and ask for continuance to the 10th.
Let's just do the 10th.
Let's just do the 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will make a motion to continue the public hearing of Wenham PV1 LLC, requesting a site plan review located at 27 Wenham Road in Carver, for smart dual-use agrivoltaic, large-scale ground-mounted, until December 10th, 2024, Room 1, Carver Town Hall, 7 PM.
Second.
Can I get a second? Is that Ellen?
Yeah.
Second. All right. Further discussion? Hearing none?
Is this a special permit, and should Mr. Maynard be?
It is currently not a special permit. Town council has opined that a special permit may be required.
Okay.
And the lawyers will commence some sort of lawyerish dialogue over the next few weeks.
Yep. So,
But typically, we listen to our lawyer, and no offense to David, he seems like a lovely man. We tend to listen to our attorney versus the
I was just making
applicant's
sure Mr. Maynard wasn't eligible for this. So Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sedillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
And Kevin Robinson says aye.
Maynard says nothing.
Thank you very much.
You'll get your big day.
I know.
You'll get your big day. It's coming. All right. Well then, for other business, do any of the planning board members have notes?
Yes, I think we should discuss the, we just approved a tree bylaw for the stormwater prevention articles that we just passed a couple months ago. And I think it's something that we should consider moving to the zoning bylaws, the general or the site plan bylaws, and I think that's a topic worth discussing in regards to that, so that it's not just kind of stuck in the stormwater prevention plans and becomes more of a zoning bylaw applicable to site plan review.
Okay.
I also think it's important that we revisit the stipends of the planning board. I think they're inadequate, and I think it does a disservice to the board and the town members if we're not we're not getting the best applicants out there. Luckily, we had Mr. Maynard, who seems incredibly intelligent and well-spoken, but I think it might also attract far more people who wouldn't otherwise have the time or money to spend to keep up with serving on the planning board. And I think it would be inherent in what we do that the 2-acre and 200-foot adjustment to the bylaw that was removed from the town warrant, which we had the power and authority to put on there, was removed by another entity, and that needs to be addressed also. I think those are the three things with the upcoming town meeting that we should at least discuss.
Thank you.
And on a further note, yesterday was Veterans Day, so I just wanted to take a moment to thank everybody that served this country.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to ask all of you, we have a meeting on Christmas Eve. I don't think that any of us would like to be here on Christmas Eve, so that's not something where we need to move it up or move it back, right? We would just vote to not have that meeting.
Correct. I did my best to spell it out on the agenda as well and not put December 24th on there, but write down that it was Christmas Eve. Not
Yeah.
everyone celebrates Christmas, by the way.
No,
So,
I
but it is-
understand that.
But it is a popular day for people to get together and do things other than come to meetings. Right now, we've got a meeting on the 10th. We can schedule a meeting for the 17th if necessary. But most people aren't leaning into coming to a meeting on that particular Tuesday night. So 17th would be our fallback date after 12:10.
And I would expect if we have nothing on the agenda, well, it looks like we'll have something on the agenda. We can always bump it forward too.
Well, we manage the agenda as things come in. We
Okay.
have 65 days to open a
That's-
hearing for special permits, which allows some latitude.
So as a board, do we want to do that? Do we want to make an option to do it on the 17th if something does come in?
I would recommend tentatively putting that in there.
I support that.
You support that as well? Ellen?
Yes.
Mr. Maynard?
I actually have a commitment that night, but I'm not essential to the operation at this point, so.
All right, so we'll strike Christmas Eve and tentatively be available for the 17th if something comes up. If an applicant comes forward, right, Mr. Bott?
But I'm just taking a quick look at the calendar. Hanukkah doesn't start till the 25th, and Simchat Torah, which I probably mispronounced, is already past this October 23rd to the 25th. Those are the two Jewish holidays in the area as well. 10th and the 17th if necessary. And
Okay.
we will likely not.
We don't have to vote on that, do
Nope.
we? Okay.
Just so everybody's
Just
aware
that
that we may have a
are
meeting
all in
on that.
agreement that we would tentatively come in on the 17th in the event that applicants come forward for that night. All right, Mr. Planner?
Any other notes from board members? Any other notes from board members? So I was a little late coming over here because I was at the FinCom meeting across the way talking about the planning board's budget. And this was not a line item by line item by line item. They said, basically the question from the FinCom was, what do you need? Are there any hurdles that we need to be aware of moving forward with your budget? So the budget is essentially what it was before. The only difference that was incorporated in the budget were the increased stipends for planning board members. So so it is in the budget for town meeting's consideration. At the FinCom meeting tonight, there was a discussion about overall stipends, and there was a question about, was the town looking at stipends for all members a couple years ago, and was that a governance committee, or was that somebody else? So there's a bit of a conversation at the FinCom select board meeting about who's on that, but the item's been launched. It's in the budget where things start at, and there's discussion about would they be reviewing stipends for all members of the town Carver. So Other things that I want to talk about is the couple of zoning articles that we likely need to have on the warrant for a town meeting. One being the MBTA bylaw. We have until December of 2024 to pass a zoning bylaw to be in compliance with Massachusetts General Law, Section 3A. Also, recent changes in the legislature made ADUs permissible by right. So typically when the town or when the legislature makes legislation, it has a 6-month period before it is enacted. So with that change, from the state's perspective, ADUs will be permitted by right on February 2nd. Most people don't have a town meeting to change those sort of things by then. So we'll be looking at amending our bylaw to make it compliant with the state's requirements for our Springtown meeting as well. So MBTA, ADUs. One of the other things that we came across in some of the grants that we just got, the one we wrote for the economic development plan, and I'll talk about that in a minute, was are there any zoning requirements that essentially are they did not say this, I'm going to characterize it as this. They did not say this, I'm going to characterize this as sort of anti-housing. And amongst those things are things like the rate of development bylaw that we have in our zoning bylaw, section 2400. We put this in place some time ago, and it expired in 2011. So the zoning bylaw says there's a rate of development, and the rate of development is 2006, 2007, and can be extended prior to 2011, and never was. So it's in our bylaw, but it's not effective. But it also creates some confusion. So my recommendation is we don't have it, we don't use it. Most towns don't. Just jettison it from the bylaw, much like we did with the medical marijuana moratorium we had last year. So those are the things to bring to town meeting from my perspective. So as I mentioned, we got a grant for economic development. So we'll be working with Serpent, likely kicking off in January on developing an economic development plan for Carver. What do we like? What do we don't like? What are we strong at? What are we weak at? What are those sort of things we can do to do a better job at encouraging and increasing business activity in the town of Carver. That was grant funded. We used $9,000 of our planning board budget as a match for that. And we also have our housing plan update that we're trying to get buttoned up as well. And we will likely invite the folks from Serpent back on December 10th to try to button up our housing production plan. They had some draft goals and things like that they share with the planning board before. I don't think we had a whole lot of feedback for it, but I'll send those to you again prior to. So on December 10th, we're looking at having a Serpent to talk about the housing production plan as well as the MBTA zoning bylaw. And that is what I have.
Okay. Thank you. Move on to minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them? So,
Helen, do you have your minutes from October handy, by any chance? Oh, I didn't know if they printed them out for you.
No, they don't.
Huh.
I left mine in my office.
What was the question?
I didn't know if there was a set handy for the October 8th meeting.
I likely have a hard copy. Michelle does a good job. She makes hard copies for Gasky and myself, October 8th.
I had my minutes and now I don't know what happened to them.
Well, because we don't like to print many pages of them per moment, we typically send them all to you.
Tom, may I ask that my name be corrected, the spelling of my name?
Willimas.
M-A-R-I.
Oh, that part.
You really struggle with getting our first names right.
Sorry, kid.
That's all right. That's all right. You don't spell Kevin with an E, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I have a couple of spell checks automatically on my computer.
You won't find that one, though.
Huh?
I said you won't find that one.
No, but you can put them in there. For instance, I write the word public a whole lot. I cannot type pubic on my computer. It is, because it's embarrassing if you happen to send out a memo like that. So their autocorrect is annoying, but it also can be very comforting.
Helpful.
I did a very similar thing, was in the clothing business, so I spell shirt properly.
Got it. Got it. All right, then.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 9/24/2024
As amended with correct spellings of all the board members' names?
as amended.
Yes, all members. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Further discussion?
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sodillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
Kevin Robinson says aye. And can I have a motion to accept the minutes of 10/8/2024?
I'll make said motion.
I will second it if there's any amendments to be added to it. And I am going to request an amendment under the public hearing for Wenham PV. Mr. Shea asked the applicant if he had the required 150-foot frontage, and the applicant replied that no, they did not. And I think that should be included in the minutes.
Okay. Did you get that, Tom?
This is October 8th.
Yes. And then any spelling changes that might be necessary.
Did you mark that on here?
I didn't, because there was nowhere to mark it, because it wasn't in there.
So just note that
Mr. Shea asked the applicant if they had the required 150-foot frontage, and the applicant responded, no, they did not.
okay.
And Miss Williams' first name is M-A-R-I.
You know, it's nice that it is consistently misspelled. We'll fix that too.
All right. Mr. Bott with one T.
Yeah, I had this trouble when I go on the computer and it says,
Oh, yeah.
prove to me you're not a bot. I'm like, I am a bot.
That's AI, I get that.
Yeah, they don't seem to care. It seems like my computer rights are being trampled upon.
All right. With that, then I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Oh, Mr. Shea says aye on the minutes.
Oh, our minutes, yes. Thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Oh, no, you made the motion, I seconded. I'm
Okay.
voting to approve with
Okay,
amended.
All right. I thought so.
Ellen, I just need an aye from you.
Oh, Ellen Sodillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
And Kevin Robinson says aye. And could I have a meeting for adjournment? Motion for adjournment.
So motioned.
Second,
Aye.
Ellen Sodillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
And Kevin Robinson says aye.
Thank you, John.